Everything and everyone changes when you go through your spiritual awakening. The truth is, what changes is your perspective, the place from which you're looking. The eyes that you use to look changes, and that means that every single encounter becomes a divine encounter if you can hold the space of presence. It's difficult to go back to your friends or your coworkers or your family members when such a profound shift has happened inside of you and they can't understand it and they can't even seem to relate to you anymore. So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to remember what your focus is. Your focus, first and foremost, is your spiritual awakening. You came to this earth to achieve something, to learn something, to grow. And your commitment to that has to be utmost. Because if your goal is to please them, to not confuse them, to help them, to save them, whatever, you're going to lose your position. The Bible clearly says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. That, to me, means seek the consciousness of God. Seek the realm of God. The kingdom of God, you don't need to pull out a map and be like, where is it? Is it located here? Is it located there? It's also not a place that your dead soul journeys to. The kingdom of God, can call it the realm of God. Call it the dimension where God is. What is that? Let's use the words in this type of spirituality that we talk about. That is the consciousness of God. Seek the consciousness of God, and everything else will sort itself out, because then you allow God. You see, the paradox is that no matter how much you want to do something, how hard you try, how hard you plan, how hard you strategize, the you that is doing it is not the God consciousness. It is an egoic mind full of pains, patterns, fears, aversions, judgments, and faults. It is an imperfect being, and it will never achieve the perfect results that you're seeking. So just remember your priority to your own spiritual advancement. Hold that determination that I am not going to let anything, no matter how juicy it is, no matter how much I love the person, no matter how much I hate the person, I'm not going to allow either one of those two settings to cause me to shift from my desire to shift consciousness first. As a result of that, you will end up fixing everything else, because the shifted consciousness is the ability within you to do that. You will find the ability to help your friends. You will find the ability to help the people that you love, and to either change or get rid of from your life the people that you quote unquote hate. So not only will you, from this higher consciousness, have a higher awareness and higher inspiration of how to go about this, but you will also, to use an expression, you will have a higher vibration, right? You will exude a different energy and a different frequency that will attract people that are closer to that energy, and it will repel people that are further away from that energy. There are certain energies, if the energy between two beings are enough, they literally cannot exist in the same dimension together. If you go through a sudden and sharp jolt in your spiritual awakening, you will notice, I have had it happen to someone where they went through a huge awakening during a ceremony over the weekend, and on Monday, the person that they were in a relationship it was very toxic relationship, the person called them Sunday night and said, listen, I know you're coming back home on Monday. I got a job 2 provinces away. I gotta go. And they packed up and left by Monday morning. I'm not saying that this is an ideal situation or it's what you want. I'm just showing you that when the separation becomes so huge, if the separation is slight, you can influence the person to come up to your level. You can pull out the best versions of them. You can infect them with your vibration. But if the separation is extreme, the person will dissolve away. You not only will in a sense, they literally go to a different world, a different dimension. You and them don't exist in the same world anymore. It's the concept of the new earth. That's what it's like. But in another way, if you want to use more sort of tangible words to describe it, you can become invisible to the person, where you can literally slip out of their minds because of the fact that you're no longer feeding the part of them that they wanted to, that your relationship fed before. The person was only in your space, You hear this a lot with addicts. The minute I stopped drinking or the minute I stopped smoking, I lost half my friends. Because that's what they were there for. They were there for the shared activity that you had, not for you. And in the same way, all relationships among people who are not spiritually awakening are unconscious. And what that means is that the relationships are between the pain body in one person and the pain body in the other person. The egoic mind in one person, the egoic mind in the other person. The unconsciousness and the unconsciousness. And they just have a little dance where they either enable each other or they fight with each other, but either way they're feeding each other on an energetic level. And when the spiritual awakening occurs, the person, if they don't follow you down that path, they will no longer feed on you. And then you'll realize, oh, so we weren't exactly friends per se. You were just feeding on me, or I was feeding you. Either way, it is a blessing. Nothing will ever leave you that you're not prepared to let go of. It means that in a spiritual way, the contract you have with that person has ended. And when you meet on the other side in another form with another memory, you will thank that person for the role they played in your life, but you won't be devastated by the fact that they're not in your life. Anyhow, this video is meant to be more about how to interact with people that remain in your life. So there wasn't a huge gap and they didn't get sucked out with the tide. They stayed in your life, but you have to interact with them. The first thing you have to realize is don't try to explain to them. Don't do the explaining. I've had a spiritual awakening. I read this book and I have a greater understanding. I went through the ceremony and things are so different. That will naturally come up in the course of your relationship. It will. It must. You will teach them. You will guide them. They will be curious. You will awaken in them a hunger for the knowledge and the experiences that you have and that you went through. But if you initiate it, you're going through one of the most common traps that happen after your spiritual awakening. The ego. Spiritual awakening is about disidentifying with the egoic mind unconsciously and shifting back to higher consciousness. And the ego has persisted in you for 1,000 lifetimes because the ego is strong and tenacious and it is following its original instructions from the Creator. The original instructions are, do not allow her to kill you. Do not allow her to disidentify with you. And that ego, it takes that instruction very seriously. So I guarantee you 100% it will happen to you, and it will happen to you many times. Be aware of it and be careful. After your spiritual awakening, the ego that you are trying to disidentify it from will put on the clothing and the mask of a spiritually awakened person and try to get you to identify with it in a different way. The ego speaking spirituality is still the ego. The ego having the noble intention of awakening other people is still the ego. The only thing that teaches other people is the God consciousness. The only thing that awakens other people is the God consciousness. So again, it comes down to one single teaching so far. Hold the God consciousness. Find that inside of you. Find the kingdom of God within you. And let the kingdom of God sort it all out. Right? Do not try to do it yourself. When it naturally arises, when somebody says, what's going on? I noticed this, I noticed that. Where did you go? Who is this teacher? What is this book? That is their own spirit asking. Their ego will never ask for help in getting rid of the ego. So when they come to you, their spirit is asking, and then you will get the opportunity to explain it to them. That's a different thing. That's another part of your calling. It's spreading the light. But don't immediately approach someone with the idea that I'm going to teach you how to be better. No. The only thing you can do is hold that consciousness, and from that consciousness, you will end up making them better. Here's how that will happen. In the past, before your spiritual awakening, you were unconsciously interacting with them. Your pain body was interacting with their pain body. Your egoic identification with theirs. Your mental position with their mental position. Your strongly held opinions with their strongly held opinions. And that was feeding each other energetically. But now, you are aware of the fact that that is happening. And without judging, without labeling, when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, feed my pain body of anger, fear, jealousy, gossip, just don't. And when somebody accuses you and says, hey, if I piss you off, will you get angry and feed me anger energy? Just don't. And when they come up to you and say, hey, this is my mental position, my mental identity, I believe so and so, these are my political views, these are my religious views, this is my opinion about what should be done in the company, this is my strongly held view, don't either agree with it or disagree with it. Do not allow the person to have a relationship with you based solely on their mental position. Do not feed it. Like, I don't know, let your arm be like cooked spaghetti. If they push on it, have absolutely no resistance. Do not feed their desire to engage from one mind to the next mind. Just don't. The way to do this is both simple and easy. It is very, very simple if you hold the divine consciousness, but in the very beginning, it's tricky to know what that's like. I advise that you use the power of your breath. In another video at some point, I will explain to you that your breath is your spirit. The one who controls the breathing is the highest self inside of you. It is the energy being inside of you. It is your highest self. Every single time, in every single situation, when you need to return to the consciousness, to a higher consciousness, simply take one conscious breath. So whatever people say, you take a breath and then you respond. Good or bad. I'm not saying that it's constantly fighting out there, but sometimes they just want to gossip, or sometimes they just want to know your opinion, or sometimes they just want to whatever. Sometimes they want you to describe yourself, your egoic position a little bit. Whatever it is, take a breath. And not in an obnoxious way or something for them to be like, am I annoying you? Like, not like that. Just take a breath and grant the relationship, the conversation, the space of one breath. They can wait the length of one breath for you to reply. In that one breath, focus all of your attention on your breathing. Drop every thought, including what you were planning to reply, what you thought of them, what you judge them to be, what you think of what they're saying or doing, what you wish would happen, how you feel. I'm annoyed, I'm scared, I feel nervous, this is pressuring, this is giving me anxiety. Whatever you're thinking, drop it completely. Breathe it out. And then as you return to the interaction with them, allow what floats to the top to float to the top, and trust that your spirit is guiding you through it. So that is a simple part of how to interact with people at a higher consciousness. The more complicated thing is that you can lose yourself through the habitual pattern of wanting to respond to them. Remember, you know these people well. The longer you've known them, the more they know you. There's more history, and they know how to provoke a response from you. Your relationship up to this moment has been entirely based on these responses that you provoke in each other. So it will be very difficult in the beginning. Also, when it's a question of a friend or a neighbor or something, you can choose to reduce your interaction with them. But when it's a coworker, you can't necessarily do that. So you can't just avoid them and be like, that person is too unconscious and that person pulls me into unconsciousness too much, I'm going to avoid them. You can't necessarily do that. And when they say something that, let's say it's one of those confrontational people like a Karen, and they are trying to get a fight out of you, you can just say, oh, okay, is that what you think? Okay, cool. And you can let it be. Sometimes, but sometimes also it's a workplace and you can't admit fault that isn't there. You can't admit liability. That those things get complicated with bosses and HR and that kind of stuff. So what you have to do is you have to find a way to express yourself without engaging the part of them that wants to engage, and also without engaging it in you. So for example, I was working with a woman once, and she was determined. She had failed at a particular task, and she was determined to make it my fault. But she was determined to get me to admit that it was my fault, which it wasn't, but it doesn't matter. You know, I know who I am. I know where love is. I know where peace is. I know where joy is. I don't need other people to provide it for me. So if you're angry at me, I'm not going to curl up into a ball and cry, because I'm not angry with myself. The love, peace, and joy already exists. So when she accused me, I did not say, that's a lie, you're wrong, no, we're making it up, what's wrong with you? I didn't say any of those things. I said, oh, is that what you think? And she said, yes, that's what I think. And she was really, really wanting a high energy response, and I gave her a flatline response. I said, oh, okay, well, I hear what you're saying. I did not acknowledge it, because in a work situation, you can't do something like that. And then I said, because in a professional setting, you do have to explain certain things. I said, well, let me explain to you my perspective on it, I will just talk for about 1 minute, and after that I won't have anything else to say. And I very flatly and very calmly explained to her what I thought, did not accuse her of being wrong, did not declare that I was right. I just said, this is how I see it. And then I stopped talking. I kept my word. I stopped talking. And she kept at it for maybe 3-4 minutes. And I was like, okay, yeah, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. And because I was not responding, I weakened her mental position, I weakened her hunger, and I put her pain body back to sleep. I'm not going to go back and forth and be like, but I said, but didn't you hear? But I'm going to tell you again, what's wrong with you? Can't you hear? Even that is feeding the pain body. As you become more and more conscious, you recognize that the vast majority of the interactions that we have as human beings is based in unconsciousness and is some form of pain body feeding another form of pain body. It is just pain patterns. We are just walking pain memory, and we are masses of pain, identifications with the pain that we have as a family, as a nation, as a race, as a culture, as a gender, as a profession, as a whatever. You gather bigger and bigger pains, and it's terrible. But as more and more of us continue to hold the consciousness of awareness and of presence, we will begin to kill the pain body within all of humanity. We really will. This is the shift that is happening now. Trust that there are literally millions of people that are learning this and practicing it. Even though there are billions of people that aren't, there are still millions of people that are. So in a situation where there's a group, say you walk into a presentation, a business meeting, a classroom, and the majority of people are unconscious. They either want to be against you and hate you and resist what you have to say. Let's say you're going to make a presentation at a board meeting, or they just want to bring the conversation into a debate, or they want to hold mental positions, whatever. Trust that which is awakening in you is awakening in other people. Learn to spot consciousness wherever it is. Somebody somewhere is less unconscious than the other person. Somebody somewhere is not as identified with their pain body. If you have to walk into a room of 10 people and ignore 9 of them and lock eyes with one person who has a little spark of consciousness flaring up, then do that in the beginning. But where you want to get to eventually is to recognize that whether the person's experience is unconscious or not, whether they are identified with their egoic being or with their highest self, the highest self exists within them. God is everywhere in everyone all the time. All the time. The way you can live a life where you only interact with the self, with a capital S, the self in everyone. You can get to that point. The way to do it, however, is to know what the self is. To know the self in yourself. Look at video 5 and then video 6 in this series on the pain body. It talks about the different ways to enter presence, and there's one guided meditation to get you into presence. Start with holding presence for even 1 split second a day. Then 1 second, then 30 seconds, then a minute, then 10 minutes. Until you get familiar with what presence feels like. Stillness. When you become intoxicated with stillness, no disturbance can ever really shake you or tempt you for more than just a few seconds or a few moments. You will always come back to that presence. I am at a point now where I don't get upset by anything for more than 10 seconds. It took me a while to get there, but I get there. And the way that I snap out of it is not because I have extreme control over the egoic mind. It is because I have extreme awareness of my peace. And I have extreme awareness of when I have left my peace. The minute I start, wait a minute, I'm losing it. And I come back down. So you will get there eventually. When you learn what the self feels inside of yourself, you will learn to identify the self in others. You will lock eyes with someone who's yelling at you, or who's unconsciously gossiping with you, or who is so busy there in their head and they didn't even notice you for the day. And you will know that that person is just lost in a character, but the self is still in them. You will see the character on stage, but you'll remember the actor, and you will smile and you'll say, that's okay. That's okay. That's just the character that they're playing. Right? That will happen more and more, I promise you. So keep at it. Keep witnessing. Keep your hunger for the feeling of the self alive inside of yourself, and you will find the self everywhere in this world, wherever you go. I hope that has been helpful. Thank you very much. Please subscribe if you're interested in this. I have a couple more series. I'm going to do a series on fear and anxiety coming up soon. And then I may do a longer series on relationships. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.